Hey. Hello. Y'all here? What you doing? Where you at? Oh, you got plans. Don't say that. I'm sipping wine, sip in my room. I look too good. Ooh, to me on the smooth like a newborn. Are y'all here? Is anybody here? Is anybody here? Oh, this is here. Oh, people are here. Wait, let me get my YouTube chat back up. This is ridiculous. What did I even do? I didn't even do nothing. I'm minding my own business and everything just come crashing down. I'm telling you, my stories were too epic. Sometimes when I tell too grand of stories, Twitch just really doesn't know what to do with it. Also, y'all better get, I'm sorry, y'all about to get hit with the 3-minute ad break again. I can't just have a stream crash no more without Twitch getting mad. So, sorry about that, y'all. It's gonna happen in 1 minute. I can't really do anything about that. It's okay, I'll just sing while y'all are gone. I'll just sing during the ad break. So when you come back, so that when you come back, you won't really miss anything. Okay? I don't wanna tell no stories if you're not gonna be here, you know? I don't know to sing though. What we gonna sing? What we gonna sing? I can sing my favorite songs, but nobody knows my favorite songs. Nobody knows my favorite song. You'll miss me sing? Wow, you probably want to miss that, to be honest. I haven't I lost my voice like I do a very voice intensive job. So like I lose my voice all the time. You can hear me sing during the summer and it might sound nice, but if you hear me sing during any month I have to teach in, it's probably going to sound pretty bad. Be real. I'm gonna be real, man. That sucks. That killed my whole flow. I was doing so good. I was in such a good mood. I was yapping. I was vibing. My YouTube's peoples were here. Now my YouTube's peoples are gone. Come back, YouTube's. Come back. Oh, thanks, Stream Elements. Thanks for that. Thanks, Stream Elements. I took a picture of the error code of the blue screen. There's something wrong with my computer. I just don't know what's wrong with it. I'm gonna be honest. I don't. Initially, we thought it was the RAM, which the RAM was part of the problem. Because once we got the RAM replaced, it did fix some issues. Like games running really poorly and crashing, and I don't blue screen as often anymore. So the RAM was a problem, but that's not the only problem. So we haven't figured out what the other issue is. We haven't figured out what the other issue is, man. It sucks. Yeah, now y'all are stuck in the ad break. Except for my YouTube's people, but my YouTube's people don't know I'm streaming again. They probably like, man, I can't believe Cyan just left us mid-stream and then she just, can't believe Cyan would just dip like that. You want to get some food? Okay. I'm gonna keep a photo of you in my wallet just so I can show people exactly who was inspired me to be a better. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. How cute. How cute, how cute, how cute. I got stickers. You can buy a sticker on Redbubble, like what, $4? They're not expensive. Hope you're doing well at your day and night, as lovely, as remarkable as you. Ah! Oh my goodness. I hope you're having a remarkable day. Now we gotta stall for 2 more minutes, guys. So, how about that airline food, huh? My audience is gone for 2 minutes. Way back then, there were monsters in my closet, but now there's a skeleton hiding in there. The clock is ticking away, the leaves are still falling every day. The sunburn on my shoulders kept me warm back then, like the heat from the blacktops again and again. I remember when smog didn't feel my lungs when my hands were young and so warm. It seemed like the houses were touching the sky, and I promise I will never something and never lie. Oh, this summer we were staring at the sun. This summer we were staring at the this summer we were staring at the sun. Way back then there were monsters in my closet, but now there's a skeleton hiding in there. The clock is ticking away. The leaves are still falling every day. What happened? Oh, my stream crashed, and then now we're in an ad break. You are not in an ad break. Where everybody else is, but they got 10 seconds, so they back. What? They got 10 seconds, so you guys are back, right? Right. Well, it's not 10 seconds yet. You guys keep back. Yeah, you're back. All right, hold on. Hey peoples, I'm back. Sorry, I'm muted. Kotaro came in here, had to tell me something. He had to tell me some important stuff, so I'm muted. Yeah, I was talking. If I ever mute, I'm talking to Kotaro. No one else is here. No one else is here. It's me, myself, and I and him. So I mean that is. But hey y'all, welcome back. Welcome back after the grand apocalypse of what, 10 minutes ago when my stream crashed? I got blue screened, by the way, Kotaro. I got blue screened. And everything crashed. Midstream. My model died. My whole stream died. And then when I tried to load things back up, it ain't want to load no more. You watch my Instagram videos? I'm glad you like them. Thank you. Thank you. I haven't been posting like that. I posted 2 this week though. Are y'all proud of me? I edited 2 whole shorts this week. 2! Not 1, but 2. That's a lot for me. Usually I edit 0. I used to be really good at keeping up with all that stuff. Like in the fall, but like then I fell off of it. You see what I'm saying? It's really bad. But welcome to Puppy Academy for the ones who joined while we were having a scuff moment. But we're back now. I was in the middle of talking about my students, and I guess that was too intense. Maybe Twitch was telling me to start talking about your work. And Twitch was saying, stop talking about your work, Cyan. You're off work hours. You gotta teach the Twitch people now. You're not teaching your other students. It was yelling at me. I got mad. But yeah, one thing I didn't say that I wanted to talk about before my whole stream collapsed, right? I want to work on my YouTube. I want to make YouTube videos, but the problem is I'm really bad at talking about one topic for longer than like 4 minutes. And on YouTube, you're supposed to make, I don't know, like at least like 8 minutes of a video, right? But I'm having trouble reaching that threshold. But I've been sitting down and brainstorming like what type of videos I truly want to make, because I've only ever like scripted out and made 2 videos before. One was like and it was an inspirational one, right? It was like, "Don't give up, don't stop content creating." And then the other one was like a story time one. Um, but neither of those did particularly well, so I never really like made another one, you know, per se. But now I'm really sitting down trying to think of exactly what I want. Cause you know, I've been posting random stuff. I've been posting highlight videos. I posted motivational videos. I posted videos of me yapping about nothing. And posting random stuff ain't going to get you nowhere, right? Like what? Do we have background music? Y'all ain't tell me when you have background music. It must have been so awkward just listening to my voice this whole time. Anyway. Oh, you like my voice? Oh, okay. I'm glad you like my voice, cause that's all you were hearing, and there is no background music. um, so I've been sitting down and really deciding what I want my YouTube like type videos to be about. I can't just keep posting anything and everything I feel like, right? Cause then it's not going to work very well. So I decided that I wanna kind of want to focus on like cozy gaming, but not like normal like cozy game like oh, here's why you should play Stardew Valley, like nothing like that. I've been watching a lot of videos recently of people nitpicking silly little things in games like which houses are the best to live in Skyrim, you know, or you know, which area would be the best to be here. And I was like, that's kind of fun. I kind of want to make videos like that. Like a Pokopia, like which place in Pokopia would you rather live in before they got all fixed up? You know, would you want to live in the beach that's covered in trash and nastiness? Would you want to live in the canyon that's covered in volcano? Which place would you want to, you know, silly things like that. I find that to be like wholesome, but also really fun. And I've been watching a lot of videos like that, so that's what I've been kind of leaning towards. Like stuff like that, like, oh, which Pokopia town would you wanna live in before, you know, it gets rebuilt, you know, with all their problems and stuff. Or like another one I was thinking of is like, which Pokemon would make great students in the class, you know, which Pokemon would make good students or would be good neighbors, you know, or which Pokemon would be the worst student to have when you're like, you know, little silly things like that is what I kind of want to do for my YouTube. So I have been brainstorming a bunch of different ideas. Cause I don't know, I think that's fun. Fallout 4 would be a good pick for me. See, I've been watching videos about that game too. I don't even play Fallout 4, but I've been like watching so many of like, you know, little nitpicky things that like people would talk about in the games to make them feel like real worlds, you know. Which was the best guild to join based off of if you were just a normal player, you know, if you were playing Skyrim and you were not the Dragonborn, which town would be the best to live in, you know, which house is the best, you know, you know, stuff like that. I kind of want to do that, but like with Nintendo Edition. I love Nintendo games. Nintendo games are probably the only thing I'd be playing. I'm about to buy another game. I really want to play Fantasy Life I, the new one that came out. So that's what I've been thinking of. Y'all let me know if y'all think that's a good or a bad idea. But I've been doing a little brainstorming. I also kind of want to... I kind of want to make a video, too, about why... About how I like modern day Pokemon games. Because I feel like I see so many videos of people like, Pokemon sucks. Everything about it is terrible. I hate this about Pokemon, I hate that. But you never hear anyone talk about like, you know, I don't know, like, oh, I like this game because of this, but maybe it's bad at that, you know? I like this because of this, and you know, but it has this problem. It's always, no, this game is terrible because everything's wrong, and it's never like, oh, this part's wrong, but I like this, you know. But so I had some ideas. I had some ideas for some YouTube videos. So be on the lookout. I'm sure they're going to perform terribly. That's okay. I'm still going to keep doing them. You know, you don't grow by just making one and it goes bad and then you don't make another one. So I think after doing a lot of thinking, I think I'm settled. I think I'm settled on that concept. I think I do want that to be what I talk about for my YouTube. So expect some cozy stuff. Or like Here, let me tell you guys what I've been brainstorming. I wrote down some topics that I could talk about for YouTubes, okay? I wrote down some topics, so y'all let me know, especially if you on YouTube right now. Y'all let me know if these topics would be something that you would be interested in watching a video on, cause you know I'm new to all this. I want to make sure that if I write something, it'd be fun. I wrote down the idea of you could talk about being terrible at cozy games, you know, like how you scroll on Twitter and everyone is building these massive mansions and games like Pokopia and Tomodachi Life and any other game, like even like Stardew Valley. People have been making these really like incredible, like cool looking farms, but I'm like terrible at building. Like I think that'd be a fun one to talk about, like being someone who's bad at decorating, who loves decorating games. Hey Muka, how are you? That was one of the topics I probably could talk a lot about, and I was like, I think that'd be a fun one. I don't like Pokemon, but that's just because it isn't my forte. I have way too much investment in Call of Duty. That's valid. You prefer Minecraft? Yeah. Here, I had the topic of just I love modern day Pokemon games just because I see so many people like talking bad about like Pokemon. So I was like, I could talk about like how I didn't grow up with nostalgia for that game, you know. I feel like most people who are like, man, Pokemon sucks, are people who had like the older games I grew up with, you know, and they were like, they're comparing the new games to the old games. I don't have that comparison to make. So to me is everything is just nice, you know. I just like everything. I don't know. And then I had like Pokemon that, you know, would make a good like student in a classroom, and then Pokemon that'd be banned from a classroom. Those are two separate video ideas. Let me see, what else did I have on my little list? Oh, one I love talking about. Why I play games on easy mode as an adult. I think that'd be a fun topic to talk about, because like when I was a kid, there was a stigma around you playing a game on easy. Like you had to play this game. Yeah, my model's always so cute. Of course it is. When I was a kid, there's such a big stigma around you playing a game on easy. You either had to play a game on normal or hard mode. If you played a game on easy mode, then you were just a baby and maybe gaming wasn't for you. You know, like there was such a big stigma about it. But I realized that as I became an adult and I have less and less free time and less patience to master game mechanics and do this and that, I start putting everything on easy mode. And to be honest, I'm kind of having a better experience playing games on easy mode than I did on normal mode. Like when I played certain games on normal or hard mode, so many games I just never finished. There were so many games out there that I literally just never finished because I got oh, maybe I'd get to a boss that was really hard. I get frustrated, I get stuck at it, and I feel like I'm locked there. Like I fought the boss over and over and over again. I can't beat it. And then I put the game down in frustration, and then I never come back to it. So I feel like I missed out on so many games as a kid. Like completing so many games as a kid just because I was like stubborn. I was too stubborn to lower the difficulty. But then I was like too frustrated to keep grinding in games I didn't want to grind in. So then I just missed out on stuff, you know? But now playing games in easy mode can make any game feel cozy, I'm not gonna lie. I'm literally playing Baldur's Gate right now on easy, and I'm having a grand time. I'm having a fun time doing that because, you know, normal games like Baldur's Gate, Divinity, Original Sin 2, their normal modes are pretty difficult. You have to be very strategic with what you do. You know, you really have to plan out your every move. Probably have to do a few battles over again because your party members will die and you only got so many scrolls of Revivify, you know what I mean? To revive them and get them back up. But now that I'm playing Baldur's Gate on easy mode, now it's just like a village simulator. Now I'm just walking around and just talking to people and solving the problems. Fights end just as quickly as they start, and I kind of like that. Like when I had it on normal mode, fights were lasting so long because you're trying to be super strategic and all, so you don't have to like die and whatnot. But at least so far on my run through on easy mode, it's been kind of relaxing. I'm able to progress a lot quicker, which is great because I don't have free time. I don't have like all the time in the world like I used to when I was younger. So I don't know. Are you actually a teacher IRL? Of course I am. Yeah, I'm a kindergarten teacher. School year's almost over, so I'm really excited for that. I don't know what I'm going to do this summer. I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm like job searching for the summer. I haven't heard back from any of the places I applied to though. So I am trying to work this summer. So I don't really know what my schedule is gonna look like. So I don't know if I can continue streaming Saturday and Sunday. Cause what if I work on Saturdays and Sundays? I don't know. I won't know. So we'll see. But yes, I am a teacher. I don't really have the same amount of time as I did when I was young to play and grind games to beat a hard boss. Now I just play on easy. Yeah, and it's so much fun. In my opinion, it's more fun that way. I never was a fan of grinding in video games. The only time I liked grinding in games was if if you had a lot, like a big amount of customization. So like, you know, like I had stat points to give to my people, or maybe like there's like job points and you can switch job and learn skills from this job and that job. Those type of games I liked grinding in. But the standard like Dragon Quest game, for example, the most thing you can do is just level up and learn like a new skill and then buy the latest armor. I never liked that, because that means, you know, Dragon Quest is one of those games that like quote unquote grinding just means going up a few levels. Like I can't beat this boss, let me just level up 5 more times and now I can suddenly beat it. I hate that. I like games where I can be like, okay, well, I'm gonna go out and get some money and then buy this and that and this and that, and then I'm gonna upgrade this gear and upgrade that gear and then upgrade this and that, and then I can go beat the boss. Those are fun. I always hit it up on normal mode my first go. I ain't a game hog, but I can get by quite easily. Oh, Baldur's Gate, have you seen the squirrel yet? Which squirrel? No, I'm not very far in that game. I'm not very far. I actually have 5 PS2 discs in front of me alongside my 12 PS3 discs and a whole shelf of PS4. Yeah, I have my old GameCube and my Xbox 360 and stuff. I have all those games too. Kindergarten, I babysitted for a family a lot. Don't get me wrong, I love my cousins and nieces. By the end of the day, being able to send them home was great. Yeah. The worst thing about like teaching kindergarten is that they're not your kids. So you can't really discipline them the way that you know they should and need to be disciplined. You know what I mean? Like some kids just really need some strong like punishment, some strong reinforcements that the parents don't give them. And I can't do that because I'm just a teacher. They're not my kids. But yeah, I want to make a video on why I play games on easy mode as an adult. Like, I think that'd be a fun topic to talk about. And it's probably the one I can relate to like the most out of all the things on this list, because let's be real, like, bro, I was getting bullied by my siblings. I'd be like, I never played a game on easy. What are you, a baby? Haha, you can't do that. You're a little baby girl. Wow, you're not a true gamer. You played a game on easy, gross, you know. Now I'm an adult and I'm just like, ooh, new game, new story. Oh, it's a JRPG with the long story and 80 hours of gameplay. Easy mode. Easy mode. Baldur's Gate on easy mode, again, the best decision I've ever made. Best decision. Combat no longer lasts like an hour of me like fighting, losing, and then trying again. Or me thinking about my every move. Now I really just walk up to people and punch them in the face. Like, that's really what I do in Baldur's Gate. I walk up to people, shoot them with like my bow, my arrow, and then I'm good to go. I mean, I'm still a low level, but I remember on normal mode that even the low level like fights required quite a bit of like focus, you know. Just been 2,000 hours, yeah, of course, with all the free time I have in the world. It also just comes down to the issue that the older you get, the less you have time for like hobbies and stuff. I would have more time for hobbies if VTubing was not something I did, because VTubing takes up a lot of time. Like, not only are you streaming like for hours at a time when you do stream, but video editing, if you want to be consistent and grow like you're supposed to, you have to spend all of your time video editing. And that's something I'm just not necessarily willing to do. Like, don't get me wrong, I do want to grow, but at the same time, I want to learn Japanese. I want to play some of my favorite games. I want to hang out with my husband. I want to, you know, there's a lot of things I want to do that if I truly put in the effort to be a big VTuber like I'm supposed to, then I wouldn't be able to do any of those things anymore. I would go home, I would write scripts for videos, I would edit videos, I would write scripts for shorts, I'd edit shorts, I would do all that. When I wasn't married I was spending money for an editor. That's why I was pumping out shorts left and right, because I had money. I had money. I had money. I could just send off my I would just give $100 to Medics, and he would edit 10 reels, 10 shorts, and I would just sit down. I'd write some scripts, which to write short scripts don't take very long. It would take me like 3 hours to get 10 scripts out the way. I'd record it, send it all, and then I would mind my own business for a while. I ain't got money no more. I gotta buy a house. So yeah, now it falls on me to do all that. And your girl's also kind of lazy. Some days I just want to lay in bed and scroll on Instagram Reels. Is that too much to ask? I don't think that's too much to ask, but in the VTubing world, it seems like it's too much. I be seeing so many VTubers that like post like so much all the time. I'm like, dude, you don't have any free time. Like, you go home and you VTube, and then you go to sleep. You go to work, you come home, you VTube, you go to bed. You wake up, you go to work, you come home, you VTube, you go to bed. I can't do that. I got things I want to do. I got things. I gotta learn Japanese. I gotta play Pokopia and Tomodachi Life, and soon Fantasy Life. I want to play that game. I gotta explore. Seeing growth, the more you grow, the higher the risk people you know or interact with in real life may accidentally run into you online. You even think your voice is familiar. That's true. Have to be careful what you share online anyways. When the line between real life and online blur more, it's important. That's true. You know, it was really interesting. I took a gap semester from college, like early in my streaming career. Probably like, I said career like this is a job. 1 year, I think it was like 1 year into streaming. So after like about 1.5 years or 2 years into streaming, I took a gap year in college, and all I did was stream. Literally, I streamed 4 to 5 days a week for like 3 hours each. And then when I wasn't streaming, I was hanging out in the Discord with other VTubers. I was on Twitter. All I did was eat, sleep, and breathe VTubing. And I'd say that doing that was kind of toxic, because it got to the point where I started to consider myself to be Cyan. You know, like, you know, you're when you stream online, you kind of have, I guess you could say, an online persona. I'm pretty much the same person online and offline. Like, if you were to talk to me, like any of my friends who watch my streams, they know. But it was weird because it was my name. I started like responding to Cyan more than I respond to my like IRL name, and it was so odd. It got to the point to where my real name started to sound really weird, just because like I didn't have any friends too. I didn't have any friends to hang out with, so I was literally all the time just like VTubing, because that's all I like. You guys were my friends. I didn't have any friends. I still don't have any friends, to be honest. You guys still are my friends. Like, I don't have any. I get all my social needs out from streaming. But it was bad then. Like, that's all I did. Like, my real name started to sound so funny to me because I was Cyan so much. Started to believe I was Cyan. You know, I eat, breathe, and sleep Cyan. Wait, your name isn't actually Cyan? I know, it's crazy. See, I'm telling you, this is why I could not be a corporate VTuber. I like to talk about my personal life too often. I like to talk about the girl behind the screen too often. I can't be a traditional VTuber, sorry. That's what happens to VR chat people. Yeah, I'm sure. I also was playing VR chat quite often back then too. You know what's crazy? People say that when you get like phantom sense in VR chat is because people always attribute someone having phantom sense in VR chat to like people being chronically online and stuff. Thanks, Xavier, I appreciate it. That's not necessarily true though, because when I first tried VR for the first time, it was the trippiest thing. Genuinely speaking, my brain could not comprehend, especially in games like VR chat, my brain could not comprehend that my character in game was doing something that my body physically was not doing. Like, so for example, if I was sitting down but my VR chat character was standing up, my whole body would be tingling and my brain would feel very confused. Like very confused. It's like think about like when you have like a study session and you're just really not understanding something, and you're getting frustrated and you're getting super confused and you're just sitting there like, oh my gosh, I don't get it. That's how my brain was feeling when I first tried VR chat. And it was really bad. Every time I would walk in the game, again, I would get lightheaded, I'd get dizzy because I would see my character's legs moving, but my legs physically were not. And so I've always had phantom sense. I hardly play VR chat. Like I don't really play that game much. But whenever I do, I always get this weird sense of like, now I'm adjusted to the fact that like my VR chat like character is moving, but I'm not. Like my body's my brain's less confused about that, so that doesn't really cause me to tingle and as much problems. But when like someone in game like is standing too close, for example, I'm like, whoa, back up, like you're in my like I start feeling like someone's actually like all up in my space. Or like if someone were to poke me, it's not like I don't feel them like poking me per se, but I feel like a little tingle in that spot, like it tingles in the spot. And it's so weird watching people like I watch a lot of like deep dives and stuff, and I've watched deep dives on like VR chat and stuff, and people are like, oh man, people with like phantom sense are just chronically online. Like how do you play a game so much that you start to feel what's in the game? I'm like, you know, some people like it genuinely is like your brain is just confused. Like it's the best way I can explain it is how it feels. It feels like my brain is confused. Like it feels like my brain just doesn't know what's going on. Like the first week I got a VR headset, I really had to take it in breaks. Like I had to take lots of breaks just trying to get adjusted to. Like I'd play the game for like 10 minutes and I'd be feeling like my body would feel so weird and off that I would have to stop. Like it was crazy. You're watching the stream with your two dogs? Oh, woof, 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 woof. That means hi. Hey, Fizzy! Love you all. Y'all, as my friend, I'm here to support you as I do a follow. Thank you, appreciate you. Welcome, 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 welcome. I shall take care of myself. Let me hydrate and stretch. Y'all keep redeeming hydrates and stretches and stuff. Now I've been doing it. Let me do double stretches because Will Blossom redeemed that stuff too. Brownies? You brought me some brownies? Okay, let me see. Anyways, I started yapping because I was telling you guys about the YouTube videos I'm gonna try. The YouTube video ideas I was gonna make, right? Let me continue with that. Gosh, I get so sidetracked. I had a list of ideas. I had a list of ideas for YouTube videos I could make that were like cozy game deep dive type of things, you know. Actually, no, I think that was the list. All the other ones kind of suck. Never mind, there's nothing to come back to. I lied, I already read them all. There's this one. The internet needs more wholesome content. That'd be a fun YouTube video to make and to talk about. Like I feel like a lot of VTubers usually have a stigma around them for people who don't watch VTubers because there's so many like lewd tubers and inappropriate VTubers, and like the most popular clips. Excuse me, welcome to Puppy Academy. The most popular clips that circulate that's in the VTuber community are usually really inappropriate clips. VTubers saying things they're not supposed to say, doing things they're not supposed to do. Oh, tiny cutesy model screaming profanity. Oh, why would she say that? Oh my gosh, I can't believe she say that. And it's like, I feel like a lot of VTubers have middle school humor is the best way I've always described it. You know, when you're in middle school and like anything inappropriate is like hilarious. It's like, hee, I said that bad word. Hee. Like that's what a lot of the popular clips that surface from VTubers are. So I kind of wanted to make a video about like the internet needs more wholesome content, you know. I think it'd be a fun topic. Came from a stream we learned about krill. I saw Teacher Talks and clicked. How are you? Are you going to teach me about krill? You going to teach us about krill? Like a kid laughing at a fart, essentially. Yeah, that's literally like the more popular VTubers. Like that's what they're like. That's what the clips that are surfacing are like. And it's so weird. Or them being cringe, like the VTuber being like ara, and then everyone's going, oh my gosh, I can't believe she said 2 words, stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, my TikTok is cringe. I do like to record I call them filler posts. You know, I take stream clips, I edit my stream clips, but in between editing stream clips, sometimes I just record what I like to call my filler posts, and they're just me saying something short and cutesy, like they told me to be myself, so I decided to lay in bed and eat chips all day. Ha ha. Like, I can't say I don't do that cringe, because I do, but it's not the bulk of my content. Just the in-betweens of my shorts when I'm like on a grind and I need something to post. Top 3 swear words, job, shower, and job allocations for the unemployed. Ah, it's so scary. I've noticed a lot of VTubers are unemployed. I've noticed a lot of VTubers that quit their job to become full-time streamers, which is insane to me. In this economy, you're quitting your job to pursue streaming. Like, I get it. Like, streaming is fun. If I could quit my job and do nothing but like edit clips all day and stream and like write some video scripts and start working on my YouTube channel, I would give a lot for that. You know, that sounds like a fun time. But like, is it realistic? No, I need money. Somebody gotta pay the bills. And you know what's not paying the bills? Me making like $50 a month on Twitch. And it genuinely baffles me, because I'll see people on Twitter like, I'm quitting my job, I'm gonna be a full-time streamer, and then I look at their channel and they're averaging like 3 viewers, and I'm like, are you okay financially? Are you gonna be okay? Like, you need money. Maybe they're living with their parents. See, when I lived with my parents, it wasn't a big deal. I mean, the deal with my parents, though, they're like, you're not going to live under my house and not work. Like, if you're going to live here, and you can save your money, like, we're not going to charge you rent, but you have to work, you know? But maybe they still live with their parents, and their parents don't care. Who knows? But I need somewhere to live. I still need to know who did your setup. It's beautiful. Like, the setup, like my classroom background setup, or like my PC setup, because I do have a PC setup posted in the Discord. These says some started in high school or college when they started. I started in college. I did. I had a lot of free time, and when I started, I wish I would have known what I know now, like back then, about like making shorts and taking clips and editing them when I was in college, because I feel like I would have grown a lot quicker, because I was back when I was streaming 4-5 times a week, because I had nothing else to do. I also didn't have a schedule. I used to stream at 9 p.m. I would stream at nighttime, so like half of y'all wouldn't even be here because of y'all your time zones. I got a lot of European people. I used to literally stream at 9 p.m. Eastern time. There was that one time I streamed at 2 in the morning because I was really bored. Yeah, I just did whatever. You can't give up your job. Your kids will be sad. Nah, they'd be okay. They'd be okay. They won't be sad anyways, because I quit. If I'm gonna quit my job, I'm gonna finish out the school year, so they're not even gonna be in my class the following year. You know, it's really weird. This is my 3rd year teaching, and I've been talking about this to my family recently, but I cry at the end every year. Kindergarten promotion ceremony happens, and I always cry. I always cry for my babies moving on. I will cry again this year. It just happens. I cry every year. The thing that's different this year, though, is I was really sitting down and thought about this like last week. I was like, I don't feel as attached to this class as I did previously, which makes sense, right? This is my 3rd class after all. You're not going to feel like extremely attached to every single one of them. But I don't know, I was just thinking about that. Like my 1st and 2nd year, like I was always like, once I reached the end of the year, I was like, man, I can't imagine a classroom without these kids, you know, this kid, that kid, this kid, that kid, you know, I love this student and that student. I can't imagine them not being in my class this, you know, next year. Like, they're so great. I don't really have that feeling this year. This year, I'm just kind of like, yeah. This year, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'll be sad when they leave, but I'll be fine. The previous years, man, I was tore up. I was like, oh my God, my babies, I can't be without them. But this year, I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm gonna get my little tears out on my last day seeing my kids go, but I'll be fine after that. It's kind of crazy. My 1st year, I was a wreck. My 1st year, when I tell you, I cried for days my 1st year. Like, I literally the next like 4 days after the kindergarten graduation, I cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And what got me was that the kids had the kindergarten graduation. You know, that's the last day. They had the graduation in the morning, and then by like 10 a.m. it's done, and they go home, and no more school for them. That afternoon, that same day, you know, I was already like super sad. My classroom's empty. It was my first year. You know, I was like, I was so sad. You know, my babies, they left me. I went to go get, after the work was over, I went to go put some gas in my car. And while I was at the gas station, I got a phone from I got a phone call from a number that I didn't recognize. And I was like, okay, let me answer it. And guess who had called me? It was one of my students. And she was like, Miss Cyan, I miss you. I was like, girl, it hasn't even been a day yet. It's only been a few hours, but I miss you too, girl. And that had me in my car sobbing. I was like, I'm already sad my kids left, and one of my students immediately calls me. Not even the next day later, bro. She was like, my mommy gave me your phone number so I could talk to you. Oh. That was literally, that had me messed up. I think after she did that, I cried for a very long time. That one had me messed up, dude. Oh, and I miss her. And it's funny because now the kid's in 2nd grade, and I've noticed that once they reach 2nd grade, they're too cool for you. So now that same kid that was crying, that was calling me, she was crying, she was upset. She seen me in the hallway. Hey, Cyan. Hey, Miss Cyan. Hi. Hello. That's it. That's all I get now. It's kind of sad. I've noticed that once they reach 2nd grade, they stop being excited to see you. And in 1st grade, they're still like, Miss Cyan, I miss you so much. And then once they hit 2nd grade, it's like, hey. They're going to be in 3rd grade next year. So I bet you they're going to be like, they're not even going to say hi to me anymore. They're just going to look at me and be like, yeah, that's my teacher. I have a weird thing I do with receipts where I roll them up as tight as physically possible. And to be fair, I'm not out of middle school, but I'm just able to not study and pass with the high B. But when I do study, I somehow get a C. And now that I think about it, if I were to study hard for an exam and something I get close to, you fail? Nah, you'll be fine. You got it. I believe in you. Imagine if Walmart tried to sell quick and cheap commissions. Like, instead of just selling decorated cakes, they tried to sell virtual avatar commissions. That'd be kind of cool, though. You know what I saw in Japan? They had VTubers in like the weirdest spots in Japan. I went to an aquarium in Japan, and they had a VTuber. It was a pre-made, like, it was like a press the button to like answer the question about the aquarium thing, and then the VTuber would answer it. It was a pre-recorded thing, but I was like, I find it really interesting. They had like a little VTuber like stand over here. Will you consider teaching older grades? No. And let me tell you why. The older kids are disrespectful as I don't know what. Younger kids, when they're disrespectful, like kindergarten, let's say kindergarten, 1st grade, when they're disrespectful, it's usually because they don't know no better, right? Especially in kindergarten, I mean, most kids have never been to school before, so they only know what goes on in their house. So if their family is like disrespectful to them, they're going to try to be disrespectful to you, for example, right? Kindergarten, they don't know any better if they are disrespectful. But most kids, once they're in kindergarten, they're not disrespectful. And most of them are still in that phase where they pretty much try to listen to adults. You'll get some kids here and there who ignore you, but they won't like, try to curse you out, try to fight you, for example, stuff like that. Once you get to the upper grades, they will literally like curse you out, say stuff about you right in front of you, literally try to fight you. There's one teacher at my school. I know she's not going to be here next year because I've been hearing a lot that's been going on in her class. She teaches 4th or 5th grade, and those kids literally had her in there crying because they were like, there was one day where they were just fed up and they just started like yelling at her, like, you do this and that, you're a terrible teacher, blah blah blah. And then she started crying, and they thought it was funny. They were like, we made that teacher cry. We made a teacher cry. And then that became a thing, because once you cry in front of the older kids, you lose the respect. If you cry in front of the younger kids, it don't really matter. I've cried in front of my younger kids, not anything related to them. Like I saw something like something might have happened, and then I started crying, and like the kids are like, oh my gosh, an adult's crying. Do you need a tissue? You know, they don't know what's wrong. They don't really care. You don't really lose respect for younger kids if they see you cry one day. You know, if anything, they gain more respect for you because they start trying to make you feel better with the methods that you taught them how to feel better. So they'll be like, here, I'll take it to the comic corner. Let me give you a plushie, you know, stuff like that. The older kids, those kids literally, like, now when they don't want to do something, and that 4th or 5th grade class, if they don't want to do something, they just go, oh, we'll make her cry. We'll just make her cry again. If she's crying, she won't make us do something. Like, that's literally what they are saying now. And it's insane. So no, I will not teach older grades. If the school tells me, no, Cyan, you're going to teach 4th grade next year, I quit. I'm going to find a school that will have me as a kindergarten teacher or a 1st grade teacher. Kindergarten, I could do 1st grade. I think 2nd grade is a bit much. 2nd grade is when they start 2nd grade is when the kids really start coming into themselves. Like, they start to become, like, you know, they start to really figure out their interests, their likes. They become more individual in that year. Which means that's the year they start becoming, like, talk backish and disrespectful and stuff. But kindergarten, 1st grade, I like kindergarten. When I student taught years ago, when I was in college, I taught 1st grade. So I like both grades. Don't put me nowhere else though. I will say though, I don't know what I'm going to do for my branding if I'm not a kindergarten teacher. Because it's coming up. At the end of every year, you get a random email from the principal saying, congrats, you're going to be on this grade level next year. You don't have a say in it. They literally will send you a random email and they're like, you're in 2nd grade this year, congrats. You're the kindergarten team this year, congrats. You're in 1st grade this year, congrats. So, you know, my whole branding is kindergarten teacher. So there's an entire chance that, like, I get the email probably next week randomly, and it's going to be like, congrats, you're on 5th grade, you know? But I know my principal wouldn't put me in the higher grades. I know she knows I can't handle that. She know me as a person. She know who I am. I don't think she would do that, to be honest. Would you rather go to kindergarten or schools for older people? Kindergarten? At least kindergartners don't know better. Older people should. And if older people act out, I would get a lot more frustrated than the kindergarten act out. You know what I mean? Because one don't know better, and the other one should know better. Congrats, you're 11th grade teacher. My degree, my license areas only goes up to 6th grade. Technically, they could move me to a middle school, but I don't want that, so. Everyone get in the car, we're leaving the town. We know why. My rebellious phase was from grade 2 to mid 9. My rebellious phase was, rebellious phase? Mine was high school, like, probably sophomore year to, like, I guess I started late in my rebellious phase. Mine was like sophomore year to mid college. Those were my rebellious phase. I'm not gonna lie. I started kind of late. I was pretty much a goody two shoes before that. You know, I never talked back. I never say anything. But at some point, I just kind of snapped in high school, and I was like, "Listen, y'all, leave me alone." You know, and I started fussing at people. Hold on, y'all. I'm about to mute for a little bit. Hold on. Kotaru here. Hey guys, I'm here. Sorry. Sorry, I had to touch to the hubby. Hubby giving me updates. But welcome to Puppy Academy. He's going through it today. He's going through it. He's having trouble doing some stuff. Welcome back. Hey Adam. Hey. Yo, what was I talking about? I don't remember. I was talking about we were talking about grade levels. That's right. How I can get put on a random grade level by if I so don't want it to happen, it's gonna happen. And how older grades are terrible, and I would never teach them because they're the worst things in the planet. Yeah. The middle schools have too much drama. The 6th graders think they're all that. And I would never teach at middle school. Never teach at middle school. Oh, and I was gonna tell you about my my angsty stages. That's right. I said I started late. I started late with my like rebellious phase. I started like sophomore year of high school and it lasted up to like mid-college because I was a goody two-shoes. I was very, very, very what's the word? At some point, I was very sheltered. I've been very sheltered my whole life. I'm my parents' little girl, you know. I'm the youngest of a lot of siblings. And, you know, my parents were very overprotective of me for that reason. They were like, oh, we don't want her to do this and that. Literally, I was not allowed to be, like, left home alone. Like, the first time I got left home alone, I was 21. I was 21 and I had to beg my parents to leave me home alone. Like I quite literally had to beg them. I was like, please, I know you're going to another state, but I don't want to come with you. Please don't make me come with you. Like I literally had to beg them at the age of 21 for them to let me stay home. So I was pretty sheltered. Like I wasn't allowed to go outside by myself. I wasn't allowed to do anything by myself. Is why I'm not independent at all. Like I'm heavily reliant on Kotaru, and if I did not have like Kotaru to move in with me like directly after my parents left, I genuinely don't know what I'd do. I'd probably be lost because I was raised to be very, very dependent on others, and that's one thing we've been trying to work on because Kotaru is a very independent man, and I'm a very dependent girl because that's how I was raised to. I was just not allowed to do anything, and I lived with my parents up until last year, you know, and I'm in my mid-20s, so I lived with my parents for a while. So at some point I started getting rebellious because, like, you know, I'm not allowed to do anything, and everything that I tried to do would have like restrictions. I wanted to go to a concert when I was 16. My parents said no. They said concerts are where a lot of illegal things happen, so you can never go to a concert. Sorry, I was 14 when they said that. They said when you're older you can go. So when I was 17, around 17, Lindsay Sterling, if y'all know who Lindsay Sterling is, she's a violinist. When I was 17, she wasn't as famous as she is now. Right now, she's like super famous. She books out entire like venues. When I was 17, I was following Lindsay Sterling since the beginning. Like since she had only released a handful of songs, and she was really small back then. So I wanted to go to one of her concerts, you know, and it wasn't a massive concert. Like I said, she wasn't that popular back then. And I told my mom, I said, yeah, I want to go to the concert for Lindsay Sterling. She's in town. And my mom was like, you want to go to a concert? That's dangerous. You know, all they do. And I said, whoa, this is a concert for a violinist. All right. I was like, you can say that if I went to I don't know, you can try to pull that if I said I wanted to go to an emo concert or maybe some rap concert or something, you know, because rap's just the devil, you know, they're just so bad. But I was like, she's literally a violinist. I was like, you cannot convince me that if I go to a concert as a violinist concert, that is going to be all evil and gross, you know? And so my mom was like, okay, it's just like she only plays the violin. And I showed her, I was like, yes, she plays the violin. That's like all she does. And my mom was like, okay, I'll think about it. Come back to her like a few days later. Have you thought about it? Because the concert's coming up and there's still tickets available. Okay, we can go as long as I can sit down. I was like, sit down. It's a concert. You stand. She was like, do you have to stand? And I was like, yeah. She was like, what kind of concert do you have to would you have to stand for? She's a violinist. She plays the violin. I was like, yeah, she's not a traditional violinist though. She doesn't do classical music. She does like, I don't know, dubstep and hip hop violin and stuff. And my mom was like, no, that's not safe. If we have to stand up, that's not safe. Literally, I could not go to the concert because they had to stand up. Now, Lindsey Sterling is extremely famous now. I mean, she has millions and millions and millions of like people who follow her and go to all her concerts. So now I'm never going to be able to have an authentic Lindsey Sterling experience, because if I were to go to her concerts now, it's going to be crowded and I'll be all the way at the back of the crowd instead of when I was younger and she wasn't as popular. So I'm still mad about that. I cannot ride my bike outside without my brother accompanying me. I cannot be outside without my brother accompanying me. I cannot go, I couldn't go out with my friends for the longest time. I could invite people over. However, I never wanted to invite people over because I never wanted to invite people over because when I did, my parents would make me in charge of cleaning the entire house. They would say, you want friends over, you need to clean, which is valid, right? Like think about it, you want your friends over, make sure the house is clean. Except for the fact, that would be valid, except for the fact that my parents would always take that as an opportunity to have me clean all the stuff that they never wanted to do and never did themselves. Like, oh, your friends are over? You need to wipe every table down, which, we have an upstairs, a middle floor, and a downstairs. So there's quite a lot of room. You need to scrub everything in all the bathrooms, make sure all the bathrooms are clean, wipe everything down, wipe the shower out, wipe the tub out. Go clean stuff that we hadn't cleaned in a long, like go clean every appliance, like the microwave, clean all the appliances, like the microwave, the inside of the stove. Quite literally, it was, if I wanted a friend over, it was my job to do everything in the entire house. I'm talking like mop the floor, dust off every single surface. I had to go around and dust every little thing off, every corner. Oh, this little corner over there, I see a little particle of dust in that corner. And so I never wanted to invite my friends over because when I did, I would be in charge of like making the entire house like literally spotless, like not just like picking stuff up and wiping down like the kitchen counter and stuff, the normal stuff, like no, it was literally like oh, dust every surface down, clean out the inside and the outside of the microwave, clean out the inside and outside of the stove, do this, do that. It was so bad. I invited my friends over one time and I said never again. And then there's a long time where I could not invite my friends over in the first place because my dad wanted to paint the walls a different color. And he's like, oh, I'm going to paint. You can't invite them over here. I'm going to paint. And then they never painted. So I just couldn't invite people. So at some point I started being kind of rebellious. I was like, you know what? Y'all will not let me do nothing. So I'm just going to kind of do things anyways. And I took that opportunity when I went to college. I was like, I'm at college now. Y'all can't stop me from doing anything. It was really funny because I would call my mom and my dad and tell them the things I would do at college that I'm not supposed to. just to bother them. But the thing is, my quote unquote rebellion is like very light. Like, I'm still a goody two shoes. So like it'd be really small stuff. Like, for example, I wanted to dye my hair a different color. And my mom was like, you can't dye your hair. How dare you dye your hair? Because I was asking her, I was like, hey, you got any like recommendations for like a hair person to dye my hair with? I'm like, when I come back home, can you like refer me to your person so I can get my hair dyed? And she was like, absolutely not. You can't get your hair dyed. And I said, okay, I'm just gonna get somebody at college to dye my hair then. Bye. It was very lighthearted because I'm still a goody two-shoes in the day, but I was a little rebellious. But yeah, I'm very dependent on others for that reason. It's really bad. I'm like in my mid-20s and I don't feel like it because I feel like most of the time I'm like still relying on other people. Like now I'm just taking Kotaru's lead. And I married him. Now I'm just following him around and doing what he says. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. Guys, there's something I was gonna say, but I forgot. I am myself a middle schooler, but I'm a negotiable student, as I will not be the worst student as long as you A, don't question the coffee, B, don't give me a ridiculous amount of homework without trade-off. Yeah, no, that's valid. That's valid. I don't like giving homework. I give homework to kindergarten, but it's never a lot, you know. It's literally like trace the letters, you know. Yeah, your rebellion was the Gandhi rebellion. It sure was, Jinx. Hey, welcome back, friend. Yeah, it really was. I had a babe. My rebellions were baby rebellions, but they felt like a lot to me. They felt like a lot to me. Hey, Tired. Was just scrolling through Twitch and came across your stream. So greetings. Hello, nerd. Hello. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Welcome, nerd. Welcome, nerd. Anyways, Captain Fox, are you still here? You redeemed compliment, and I was like telling a story. You still here? I don't want to like give you your compliment, and you're not here. You know, compliment yourself without compliment you without you hearing it would be a sad compliment. You know. You still here, Captain Fox? If not, that's okay. I'm gonna DM you your compliment if I need to. But yeah, I was a very goody two shoes. I've always been one. I became a teacher. I literally have became a teacher. Like, it doesn't get more goody two shoes than that. Like, come on now. I feel like becoming a teacher is like the embodiment of goody two. Well, actually, that was my impression of being a teacher. I always imagined teachers like goody two shoes, but after meeting the teacher that's next door to my classroom now, like my next door teacher, I don't think that's the case anymore. She's a party person. You can tell she's a party person. Like, and she be having that party person attitude with her students. She be saying stuff to her students that I feel like if like the parents heard them say that, or like admin heard them say that, I feel like she would get fired. Because like I'd be overhearing her talk to her kids in her classroom. I'd be like, "You said that to him?" And she'd be like, "Yep, I sure did. And I meant every word." I'm like, oh, okay, so I don't know. I thought teachers were typically goody two shoes, but I don't think I consider that lady to be a goody two shoes. And then every time we're like, we have free time, which is rare for teachers, but we're getting close to the end of the year now, so we're having a bit more free time than normal. And we're just having a conversation like between like us and other teachers. She always says something really like inappropriate and really vulgar to me and the other staff room. That just made me having me like, "Girl, you know we had an elementary school, right?" And she said, "There ain't no kids right here." And I'm like, that's not the point. I feel like it's illegal to just say that in this building. Like, I feel like that should not leave your mouth in this building. It's like if you're standing in a church, would you say something nasty if you stand in a church? No, we stand in an elementary school. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. As someone who's both parents who work in education and having some experience in working as life skills, then the behavior interventionist, thank you for what you do. Teachers do not hear that enough. No, thank you. Thank you. For you, are you the behavior interventionist person? Because if that's so, y'all do more than we do. Well, way more than we do. I could not be somebody who worked with behaviors all day long. I feel like I would explode. I feel like I would 100% explode. Does the little puppy know how to do tricks? He can put on a hat. He can put a hat on. Is that a good trick? He can put on a hat. That's his only trick, though. That's his only trick. He just kind of smiles and exists there. But he has a hat now, so that should be better. I feel like tiny hats make everything better. Tiny hats make the world go around. You're talking about me? Huh? You get 20 subs? 20? Jinx, what's going on? Did you miss? Was it a misinput? It was a misinput. I didn't mean to click that. What? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. That's a surprise. You meant to click it? Thank you. How you been, friend? Tell me how you been. Tell me how you been. Sorry, I made up the song. You like my song, Jinx? I hope you did. Because that song was made for you, you know? It's your special song. You're also explode trying to handle some of the people who fall under specialized education. I sure would. You work 60 hours a week? 80 hours a week? What is your job, Jinx? What have you done in the past, like, 5 years since you've been here? What have you done? What? 80 hours? Yeah, your own special song. You be working. They got you in the trenches, man. They got you in the trenches. Ooh. 80 hours. Can I take some of them hours for you? I'll take some hours for you for themselves. Cyan, what was your favorite subject in school? Favorite subject. Math. I liked math when I got it. Like when I understood. When I understand math, math is the most fun thing on the planet. When I don't understand math, math sucks. It's the worst thing. I hate it. So it depends. A machine operator. Whoa, that's kind of cool though. You're a machine operator? So you're working with those little factories? That's kind of cool. Is it one of those jobs where they leave you alone? Like you could put some headphones in and listen to whatever you do. Like whatever you want to listen to and watch whatever you want to watch while you're working. Because those jobs low-key be sounding kind of nice to me. I work with like children for a living. I'm always overstimulated and asked a million questions and doing this and that and this and that. Like sometimes I dream about a job where I can just put some headphones in, listen to some YouTube commentaries and get to work, you know? Like I dream about those all the time. How was your teaching experience through COVID? Oh, I don't have that experience. Fun fact. I've only been a teacher for 3 years. Also welcome to Fluffy Academy. I've only been a teacher for 3 years. When I started student teaching, it was the year we had just come back from COVID. So I did my first teaching thing the year after everything opened back up, which I can tell you about that experience. That one kind of sucked. You only student teach for about 3 months. That one sucked because I was student teaching first grade, but since they were COVID babies, right? Those were kids who only had online education. They were all on pre-K levels. Every single one of the students in that class was on a pre-K level in a first grade class. Now that was terrible because you're constantly looking at the lessons in your book going, they can't do that. Because fun fact, kids learn how to read in kindergarten. You learn how to, hey Asher, you learn how to read in kindergarten, okay? So if you don't learn things in kindergarten because you're a COVID baby and you're watching and you're learning how to do stuff from watching a screen, then when you make it to first grade, they're asking these students to read this sentence and answer the question. Read this, read that, and they could not read. Write this thing. Write this to answer the question. Write this, that. Write this, write that. They couldn't write. So literally that was just constantly revising the lessons, constantly changing the lessons up to make it work, you know. That I will say that one sucked. I was like, I don't know what a first grade is supposed to be like, but it's not supposed to be like this. So in the best possible way. You are most definitely a kindergarten teacher. I hope and pray your spark for helping students and go out. Also, it seems like my response to your question to me being about behavior interventionist Perry got buried under the gifts of notification. Yeah. I was a behavior interventionalist para for a bit. Currently back in college. Oh, yeah. So thank you for what you do. That's a hard job. Did you ask the other teachers about COVID teaching? I did. They all hated it. Every single teacher I've ever talked about the concept hated it. Because you're stuck there. You're sitting behind a screen talking to kids who aren't listening because they're behind a screen. You can't make them listen. You know, you can't force them. You can't be like, sit down when it's like through a screen. The biggest thing I heard that was an issue with the online lessons through COVID was not only them not listening, but a big part of it was that parents, the stuff you would see and hear in the background, I heard was really bad. You would see parents, maybe like a parent just got out of the shower, for example, and you know, all they got are they wrapped around the towel and you see them walking around in the background. fights whenever parents would like start fighting each other. You know, not everyone's in a stable, nice household. So teachers said that they would hear like, you know, parents like yelling at each other, fights going on in the background. They witnessed a lot of stuff. So like online school is not a good idea for a lot of kids because not everyone has a safe like and healthy like home environment. So sometimes going to school is the only like structure some kids get. So when it was online, you know, they're just in the background yelling, screaming at each other, fighting each other. You see some nasty stuff in the back. I heard about some really nasty stuff happening in the background of the streams that I obviously can't talk about here. We just know a lot of crazy stuff happened. That's what I heard the most about. Like they're saying, oh, the kids weren't listening, but the biggest issue was just like background stuff was just insane. I'm glad I graduated from school before COVID. Yeah. I'm kind of glad that COVID kicked it in a good time for me. I'm not gonna lie. I was at college and all my courses became online. And my college courses becoming online made them 10 times easier. Like a course that I was about to fail, it became online and suddenly my grade went up because the lessons got easier and easier once it became online. I'm not gonna lie. So I feel like that saved me. It saved some of my classes. So it was not bad. I mean, COVID was obviously terrible, but my personal experience wasn't like too terrible. I was just living my best life in the house. Anyways, y'all, there's gonna be a 3-minute ad break like right now. During that time, I'm gonna put on the be right back screen and I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Okay, y'all? Okay, I see y'all. I'm gonna see y'all in 3 minutes, okay? Don't go nowhere. I'm coming back. I promise. Hey, 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 it's Cyanica. I came back. I always say I'm gonna come back, and I always do. Except someday when I have a funny April Fool's stream, I'm not gonna come back, and it's gonna be hilarious, and we're all gonna laugh about it. But that's not today. I couldn't do an April Fool's stream this year. I was so busy, and I'm kind of sad because I had so many ideas all year long about what I wanted to do. But then April Fool first came, and then I was so busy, and there was nothing to do anymore. And hey, Rimuru, how are you? Online course is getting easier, which is to say the same. I'm working towards a degree in counseling and addiction and recovery sciences. It's been rough. Online courses are rough when you're neurodivergent. I guess, but I feel like when COVID, when COVID first hit, right? And the classes that weren't online became online. I feel like that's what made it easy, just because they were scrambling to make some online course. But yeah, not naturally online stuff like that's always online. Oh yeah, those are terrible classes. I prefer in-person classes to over online stuff. I feel like online stuff is hard because I feel like you gotta be more disciplined to do it, especially if it's asynchronous. Right? You gotta work extra hard. I'm enjoying a relaxing Sunday at the end of the school year rush, but this is a quiet weekend. Yes, I'm glad. As a teacher, May is rough. I've been seeing so many Instagram reels and TikToks about how rough the end of the year is as a teacher. It is. It is because the kids are done. By the time May comes, the kids are really antsy. They're done. You know, they know that the year's almost over. So they start getting really, really wild. They started getting very active. They start getting overly excitable. They start just starting to do whatever. The behaviors start ramping up bad. Oh my gosh. May? Phew. May is terrible. May is always terrible. My kids aren't I don't have a bad set of kids. So my quote-unquote terrible for my students this year are just them talking a lot. I mean, they're talking a lot and they have a lot of energy. So I'm trying to teach a lesson and they're spinning around the carpet. I call it helicopter. I tell them to stop helicoptering is what I say. When they start spinning around on the carpet, they'll get on their knees and they just spin. And I'm like, stop. You're not a helicopter. Stop spinning. And they know what I mean when I say stop helicoptering. They know what I mean. I think that's what's rough with my class. It's just I just can't get it through any lessons anymore without them cutting me off or spinning around. I'm the amount of times I'm talking, I have to say, I'm still talking. I'm not done. I'm still talking. They'll start talking over me. I'm still talking. Thank you. So I was saying, I'm still talking. Okay, so that's what I say all the time. I'm still talking. And then they'll stop. I'm still talking and they stop. It's so bad. I've said that so much. Hope that trend of Gen Alpha and younger generations not being able to read on average gets nipped in the bud. It's not going to. It's not going to. You know why kids can't read? Because schools are treated like businesses instead of educational systems. Kids will continue to not be able to read until they can learn how to actually use the data that they've gained over the years about reading to do something about it. But they're not going to, because in order to use the data to do something about it, they gotta spend money. They gotta do funding. They're not gonna fund the schools. Anyways, yeah, that's literally kids cannot read because school systems are businesses and they don't want to spend their precious money on some new curriculums. They don't want to spend their precious money on buying schools new books and new materials. That's really all it is. At the end of the day, it's we don't want to spend money on the school because then how can we keep our money if we spend the money? How can I keep the money? How can I make my $100 million into $200 million if I'm spending it on good things? Quite literally. That's quite literally what it is. It's so sad. It's so bad. It makes me wanna... I imagine you gotta go to the distance trying to keep things together. Then you miss the kids. You sure do. Yup. You fight for your life the last month. And then when they finally leave, you're like, man, Oh, you came back for your compliment. Okay. I asked if you were here for your compliment, and then you weren't. So I said I'd come back. But you came back. All right. All right, you ready? Ooh. Captain Fox, I love your presence here. Literally, as soon as you started becoming active again, and like the Discord and the community and stuff, I feel like it really brightened up the community. Like you're very positive, and I feel like your positivity is infectious. It spreads like a plague, a positive plague, though. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. For me, from a student's perspective, the kids seem to choose to go brain dead because they don't want to be in the moment. Yeah, they don't feel like doing it no more, you know? The design of classrooms are more or less still geared towards getting students ready for an assembly line. Yeah, it is. It sucks because as the years go on, it's really, you're teaching kids how to pass a test as opposed to instead of teaching kids how to actually learn things. You know, like I hear from my older teachers all the time, like they had so many good things in place like 20-30 years ago, but then the No Child Left Behind, is always No Child Left Behind, that act passed, and that act was passed it was essentially made to hold schools accountable, punish the schools that aren't performing well, and then, you know, reward the schools that are performing well. That's essentially what its goal was, you know, to hold teachers, hold staff, hold the school accountable. But instead, all it really ended up doing was creating a million standardized tests, right? These tests will go towards, you know, the teacher's rating, the rating of the school, etc. And that would determine like the extra like steps these schools gotta take to get their stuffs back together. But what that created was it created more tests, right? And then it created the idea of just teaching the test, because, you know, we as schools, we gotta make sure that our school is a certain rating so that we don't like lose our ability to do XYZ and get put on like XYZ restrictions, right? So now it's like, instead of teaching the kids what we know will work, we look at the test ahead and we just teach the kids what we know is on the test. You know what I mean? And that's what ends up happening. That's why certain like really important like things and skills are not as emphasized as others, because we just want them to pass the test. You know what I've been doing for the past 2 to 3 weeks with my job? I've been teaching my kindergartners how to pass the test. That's literally like what you do. For the end of the year kindergarten test, I think it's a lame test, but hey, everyone's different, right? The end of the year kindergarten test, it's a fluency test. It's a fluency test. So what this fluency test is, it tests them for different things. It tests them for letters. So they have to say, you know, they have to put their finger in the top corner and they go across the page saying the names of letters. The next one is sound. So I say, tell me the sounds in the word cat. I say cat. You say k, a, t. I'll say the word mop. You say a, p. Tell me the sounds. The third test is, here are a bunch of nonsense words. Sound out each word and read them together. So like they have to point to each letter and go som, z, ap, zap, right? And then the last test is sight word test. So just read the following words, you know, like by, and, the, stuff like that. That itself is fine. The issue that I and the other teachers have with that test is it's timed. The kids get 1 minute to tell you the names of as many letters, as many sounds, as many words as possible. And some kids, you have kids who know everything. They can read, they can write. They're probably one of your higher kids in the class, but they take their time. So if a kid takes their time reading the letters, you know, if it says, tell me the names of as many letters as you can, and the kid goes, Z, A, Y, M, P, it's going to put them in the yellow. It's going to say they're not ready for first grade. And that's the biggest issue we have with that test. So I've been teaching the test. Literally the past 2 weeks, all we've been doing is teaching the test. Literally every ounce of free time has been, here's a 1 minute timer. Go practice saying it, go practice saying the stuff fast. And it really sucks that you have to do that, because some kids And some kids just don't get it. I mean, some kids are genuinely smart and they can take their time and do anything. But when you put a 1 minute timer in their face and you say, okay, tell me as many letters as you can, some kids freak out because they have a 1 minute timer. They know it. Some kids just can't go that fast. Like, they know it all. They know they can read, they can write. They're probably one of your higher kids, but they just can't go that fast. It'll say they're not ready for first grade. And it really sucks. So I literally have been spending the last 2 weeks teaching the test, handing them timers, practicing going fast with it with the whole class, pulling them in small groups and practicing having them say it fast, because it's all about speed. That test is all about speed. It's not about do you know it, it's about how fast can you say it if you know it. And that's what makes it suck. That's terrible. I really hate that. So every year you get kids who are super smart, they know everything, but it'll say they're on a pre-K level because they're too slow. Yes, a minute. If I remember correctly, they get a minute. They have to be able to say the names of about 50-ish letters in a minute to be able to be at one grade level. So, for example, like 50-ish letters is fast, right? That's like almost one letter a second, right? They have to literally be able to be like A, M, Y, Z, P, O, and go fast like that without stopping. Like, they have to be able to do that, or else they're not ready for first grade, quote unquote. With the sounding out and reading one, they have to be able to read, I believe it was 12 words. They have to be able to say, you know, zip, zip, mas. They have to be able to read 12 of those in a minute, which is kind of a lot for kindergarten. I always felt like that one was a lot. And then tell me the sounds in the word, tell me the sounds in the word ma, p. That one's a big number. That one was like 44. They have to be able to tell you 44 sounds in a minute, which they're not allowed to think about anything. Like, they're not allowed to sit down and think, you know, the sounds in the word mop is mop. Like, if they did that, they fail. You know what I mean? Like, I hate that. So yeah. We started teaching the test at some point. It's quite unfortunate. I noticed my Japanese teacher really hates that. So what she does is test us with speaking and reading herself over a week's worth of class. She tests us speaking and reading. You know, it's interesting. I took a Spanish class for how many years? I took Spanish classes for 6 years. But my Spanish class was so focused on reading and writing that I could not speak or listen, which is really awkward because when you think about it, when you go to another country, you're not going to go to another country to read. You're not going to go to a country to go start reading and writing. No, you're going to want to speak to locals. Reading's important, yes, but writing is not as much. But I had 6 years of Spanish practice. I had 6 years of Spanish classes, and I could read Spanish really well at the time. Now I can't anymore. It's been quite a few years since I even looked at Spanish. I could read Spanish really well. I could write Spanish really well. But if you ever walked up to me and tried to say a single word to me, I wouldn't know what you're saying because we never practiced listening. And I would not be able to respond back because we hardly practice speaking. Like, I could take all the time in the world to think of a sentence so I can write it. But when you're speaking, you don't have the time. You don't have the liberty to sit there for like 20 seconds, formulate a sentence in your head before you speak. You gotta say it. You know what I mean? You know? No, I don't know where the library is. Same with the ACT, SAT is timed. A guy in my high school said during taking the test, he said that he figured out the questions and got the answers. But the person overseeing his test group messed up and didn't time them, so they had to redo it, and he never got to finish the different section of the test because he took his time to get the answers right. Yeah, that does happen. All the tests are timed. And I get why they're timed, because like if you don't know it, you don't know it. But at the same time, I also feel like they don't give you enough time to do it. Like they'll give you like they give these kids these massive passages for these end of the year tests. They'll get massive passages, long questions that revolve a lot of thinking. And they'd be like, 2 hours to answer 100 questions, you know? Like that's so crazy to me. When I had to take some extra state exams to keep my teaching license. I found that out in like January, and I was stressing, right? Like for any of you guys who were here in January, February, March, I was not streaming. I wasn't making any content because I was spending all of my time studying and taking exams and doing all this other stuff, because I found out last minute that I was missing things to get my license renewed as a teacher. It's all resolved now, but I literally spent 2 months doing nothing but working on that. And the test I had to take was so stressful. I had to do 100 questions and like an hour and a half. That's a lot. Yeah. Wait. Okay. Coach Haru came to tell me something. I was wondering, because I was working nights and I was checking daily before I went to bed. Yeah, no, I stopped streaming for a while because I had so many. It's kind of crazy how teachers don't get paid much, because like, do you know, it's sorry, I'm about to go on another rant. Hey Timmy, I'm about to go on another rant. I've been ranting all stream. I have come across a lot of posts on like social media about people, welcome to Puppy Academy, about people complaining about like how teachers want to get like paid more, for example. I've seen people complain about that a lot. I usually see people in the comments say like, teachers should get paid more when the test scores go up, you know, when kids start performing better. And that always tripped me out, because students don't perform good. And it's not usually the teacher's fault. We are given a specific curriculum to teach. If the students don't perform well, in the whole school, in the whole state, in the whole like country, then generally speaking, it's probably the curriculum and not the teacher. We have set lessons to follow. Usually lessons have a set script to follow too. If you follow the exact script, your kids will not learn a single thing. Trust me, you have to modify the lessons. And then people be like, well, teachers should get paid more when teachers should get paid more when the test scores go up. I'm like, well, the schools also don't have any funding, right? How are your kids going to get test scores to go up when I'm running out of pencils in my classroom? I'm running out of crayons in my classroom. We're out of glue. This is kindergarten, by the way. We're out of glue sticks. I don't have glue anymore. We just don't have glue. We don't have any more expo markers to use our whiteboards with. We have a lot of lessons that require materials that the district doesn't give us. Like, they'll straight up be like, oh, for this math lesson, we're going to use stamps. Who got stamps? Not me. All of science, for most part, does not get taught. Like, we try our best to teach science, but science requires a ton of materials that we do not have. Some teachers will go out and buy it themselves. I'm not one of those teachers. I'll change the lesson around, but like, funding is very important. I don't think people realize just how much schools are underfunded. Like, we are trying to teach your kids with like no money, like none. Every year I put $500 to $1,000 in my classroom, and I don't put any more. I buy a bunch of stuff in the beginning of the year. After that, I'm not buying anything else. So when the science lessons comes and we don't have materials for science, that sucks. I guess your child getting a worksheet or something, you know, because I'm not going to keep spending more and more of my money, which is already not a high paycheck. I once made a TikTok a TikTok about just how teachers don't get paid during the summer, and it started a war in the comments about people talking about like teachers' pay. They were like, I think teachers get paid too much. It's so crazy. I think my opinion on it, I think teachers' pay would be fine if we did not have to jump through hoops to become a teacher. Like, if the requirements for being a teacher, welcome to Puppy Academy. If the requirements for becoming a teacher was something as simple as you just need an associate's degree and then that's it. And then once you got your associate's degree, you can be a teacher. That would match the pay. I think that would make sense. You know, you just got your little associate's degree. You went to college for 2 years to study teaching, and then you started teaching. That makes sense. That would make sense as to why the pay is what it is. But People think you just, some people don't even think you need a degree to teach, and that's so crazy. I'm like, where y'all getting your information from? You need to have a degree in education. You need to student teach, which is literally an unpaid internship. You need to do 3 months of an unpaid internship. You need to pass state exams. Every state has, sorry, most states, I won't say every, there's like 9 states that don't have it. Most states have some form of state exam you have to do. Most other states also have some sort of portfolio, performative assessment you have to do, which you have to record yourself teaching. You have to write essays and a bunch of stuff about what you taught, analyze student work. That takes months to do. All of that to get paid like little itty bitty baby numbers. And then it's so funny because people will also Google, like, they'll also look up like the average teacher salary. They'll be like, the average teacher salary in this state, the average teacher salary in that state, not realizing that like the teachers' salaries are differing. They differ from district to district. The teacher's pay is not the same amongst the states. It's differs from a district, which means the higher paying districts really skew that average in their favor. That average and like the average's favor, because there's always going to be like 1 or 2 school districts out there that's just paying an absurd amount of teachers. There's a few districts out there that pay teachers like $70,000 just for starting, which is not an insane amount, but that's really good for teaching, as a starting salary. So it skews the actual pay when some teachers are making only $40K at the start, right? As a first year teacher, when you got other people in the same state making $70 to $80K. It is so bad. It is so bad. Snowfall, hey Prince. It's so bad. I had people in the comment section of that post telling me how much I made. They were like, oh, well, you on average should be making X, Y, Z. I was like, where? Oh, on average, the average teacher makes $70,000. Yeah, maybe you lived in California or New York where the cost of living is massive, so the income is massive. But like normal people, nah, you ain't making nothing like that. You ain't making nothing like that. You ain't making nothing like that. It's so crazy. They don't get paid enough, especially teachers that are specialized teachers. Specialized teachers should get paid $1 million, trillion, gazillion. Especially like the teachers who work with like special needs and stuff. They pretty much get paid the same amount as the rest of us, and I don't think that's fair. I feel like their job's a lot harder than ours. I don't know. It's so bad. And the thing is, there's no discounts or channels for teachers to get supplies. But there is not. I literally just gotta walk into Walmart and pick up some stuff. Dollar Tree is your best friend as a teacher. I mean, we live in Dollar Tree, but still, you shouldn't have to live in Dollar Tree. We ran out of Kleenexes. I don't have any more Kleenexes in my classroom. When my kids blow their nose, I just tell them to go get the paper towel, because I'm not going to keep buying stuff for my classroom 24/7. Y'all already not paying me a lot, and then you're expecting me to put hundreds more into my classroom. I already did that. I already put my hundreds in the beginning of the year. I'm not doing it again. So I do plan on doing a classroom fundraiser eventually, probably this summer. I was gonna do it for Teachers Appreciation Week, then I came down with the fever. So probably this summer before school starts, I do want to do some sort of like drone-a-thon where I'm just trying to get supplies for my classroom. Because of my drone wish list. My drone wish list has more stuff from my classroom than it does for me. Because there's so much stuff that like you can either go to the store and buy, or you can spend hours crafting and making yourself. You know what I mean? Welcome to Puppy Academy. Like there's like these like fun little like cards and stuff you can cut out and laminate and spend hours making them. Or I could go on Amazon and buy a deck for like $15, and that saves me hours of work. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. But I do plan on doing some sort of classroom fundraiser to solve that issue though, because y'all best bet I ain't spending all that money every year. I put and the worst thing is when you first start being a teacher, Your first year, you have nothing. You have nothing. Teaching is the only job where you have to have money to start doing it. Like, I might as well start my own business at that point, because that's the only other scenario where I can think of where you need to have money to actually start. Because before the school year even starts, before you even get your first paycheck, you gotta go to the store and buy things for your room. You need decorations for the classrooms, like things on the walls, things for like the desks and the tables. You need like desk tags for the kids. You're gonna need basic supplies. Sometimes the school gives you it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes the school gives you a little bit and you gotta give yourself some more. Storage containers, you need to buy storage stuff yourself. I'm talking like buckets for kids to put stuff in, buckets for you to put materials in, things to like store books and stuff. Like, you have to do that. Nobody else had. Like, you have to buy that. So when you, like, my first year of teaching, I probably spent about $2,000 on my classroom my first year. Like I had to buy a lot. Like, I had to buy simple stuff like a calendar for the wall, a clock for my classroom because my room doesn't have a clock in it. Like it was bad. Labels, I had to buy like a label maker. I had to buy my own stapler. Like, I didn't have anything. Your first year, you don't have anything. So you just have to go and spend hundreds and thousands. It gets so bad. Do you try to do unique tasks or events when the money isn't there? No. You mean like on stream or like at the school? Because like when you're at the school, you can't really ask like parents and stuff to. You can technically ask parents and stuff to bring stuff in, but it's kind of taboo. They're like, oh, you want to do that? I do plan. I've never done like a fundraiser on stream before, but I do want to start, like, so I can try to raise some funds for the classroom. And I just there's just so much stuff that'd be so nice to have. Like, that would make teaching so much better. That would be more fun for the kids. My throne wish list right now has a lot of like games and toys and stuff for the kids. Things that would make like learning fun, like counting fun. I have a lot of counting games up there, like CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant words, what they're called. That would make them more fun, you know. One thing on the wish list that I had on my throne wish list was like an alphabet chart that you put on the wall, and if the kid presses the letter, it says the name. Like, it'll say A, says ah. That'd be so useful, because in the beginning of the year when the kids are learning the letter, they ask you all the time, what is this letter again? If I had that chart, they could just walk up to it and press it themselves. Or you can even have an activity at that station where you had a little chart on the wall and the kid like draw a card or something. They had to press the button to see what it says. Like, that'd be so like fun for them, and it'd be so much easier for them too. Or another idea, you could put it outside the classroom door. So as the kids are coming in, we have to do a letter of a week. As the kids come in, they have to press the button for the letter of the week. So like the letter of the week is M, they have to press the M says button, you know? Or they'll have to press the A says button. That's a fun idea. That's what I was thinking of using it for if I ever got it, would be for outside the classroom, you know? It's just nice. It's nice. Also, welcome to Puppy Academy Explosive. Just finished cooking some barbecue pork ribs. Yummy. So they should get paid and treated with the respect they deserve for the impact. Yeah, or they should at least give us some, if you're not going to pay us more, at least give us some funds that can be used for our classroom. Like, every teacher gets $500 to spend only in the classroom, you know? That'd be nice. Yeah, if you don't want to give us more pay, at least don't make me come out of pocket for my own stuff. Children in the States, they may have also no school choice, even if those without special needs get offered plenty of it too. Yeah. But you have a child with special needs, have accommodations. Yeah, also like the kids with special needs, like support for kids with special needs is kind of dying out over the years. It used to be that there were separate classrooms for kids with special like learning disabilities and such, which I personally think that was every single teacher I've talked to thinks that's a better idea. The problem with that was that kids were feeling upset and they were feeling left out because they were in separate classrooms, and they were aware that they were in separate classrooms. So the kids were feeling sad. the kids were feeling sad because they were in separate classrooms. So to make them less sad, we decided to put them in general ed classrooms, you know, the standard classrooms. And all that did was cause a different problem, because now that means these kids with learning disabilities, maybe they got ADHD, maybe they have a learning disability, maybe they have like a memory issue, things like that. Now the kids aren't really learning anymore, because now they're in a classroom that's going at a pace that's way too fast for them. So they're just constantly getting left behind because they're not in a separate room that like slows down for them. And it was all because some people were a little bit sad. It made them feel a little sad. Well, now they're feeling sad anyways, because now they're in a room full of kids who understand stuff and they don't understand stuff. So they're sad about that. And they start to freak out. They start to have behavior problems because they see that around them. All the kids are learning and understanding and doing stuff, but they can't follow along. So I think that we need to bring back the separate classroom so that the kids can get what they need. Not having a separate classroom means they're just not getting their needs met. It used to be that the way it works now is that if a kid is like special needs, so we know they have a disability that needs to be accommodated, they get pulled out. They're still in your class, but they get pulled out of the class for like small group intervention multiple times a day. So like I have a kid in my class, for example, she is developmentally delayed. She is mentally she's mentally a 2-year-old is what they told me when they tested her. She can't speak. She pretty much babbles. She's really sweet. And she's not able to follow basic one-step directions. You have to be sitting right next to her and point like, do this right here, or else she can't do it. Like if I hand her paper deck and I say, go back to your desk and write your name, she can't do that. Like you have to be sitting next to her, literally pointing at every individual thing for her to do. And because she's like, she needs someone like right there, and I have to teach 18 kids. Well, guess what? She don't get what she needs. So she's just been getting behind all year long, and there's nothing I can do about it but watch, because I can't stand next to her desk all day and like make sure that she's working, because I got 18 kids in my class, you know? It's crazy. Miss Cyan, look what I found. Is it the emojis? Are you talking about that you found? Vet inclusion of those with special needs combined with no child left behind are recipe for disaster. It sure is. It is. Yeah, because they still got to take the normal standardized tests that other kids do. So now you got these kids who are special needs. We know that they have special needs, and we know that they need extra support, but they're in the classroom with everybody else. They're in the class. They're taking the same tests the other kids take. They can't take those tests, you know? It's really bad. It's really bad. That's really funny. But sorry, I don't mind. It was really funny. I like that. I thought younger grades get teacher aides. No. What? You thought I got an assistant in my classroom? That's funny. No, it is up to the discretion of the school. Oh, my model crashed again. It is up to the discretion of the school as to whether or not... Oh, I know what happened. Here we go. I should fix it. There we go. As to whether or not you get an assistant. It comes down to funding. It's funding. Everything comes down to funding. Not every school can afford to have TAs, teacher assistants. My school cannot afford to have teacher assistants. So no, kindergarten classes do not have teacher aides. Ideally, they do. But when you don't have the money to have that, then you just can't. It is not a requirement. It's just a thing that schools that have the funds to do it do. They have them. It's just how they choose to like use their funds. For example, when I was student teaching pre-K, they had pre-K at that school. Now I think pre-K is required to have them. We don't have pre-K at my school, but I think pre-K is required, at least in my state. But other grades are not. But when I was student teaching, kindergarten and pre-K both had their own teacher's assistants. But as a result of that, the rest of the school did not have any like extra assistant helpers. the way they choose to use the TAs at my school is they pull groups from every grade level. So they support like kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. So instead of those TAs just being in kindergarten classes all day, they are used everywhere. They help with 5th grade, they help with 4th grade, they help anywhere that needs help. That's what they're there for. So it's really, the schools decide how they choose to use teacher assistants. The closest thing I had to an assistant was what was it? Last year they actually decided to give the kindergarten teachers an assistant for the first 2 weeks of school, because teaching kindergarten in the beginning, you know, they don't know how to walk in a line, they don't know how to sit in a desk, etc. Trying to teach them the rules is really hard by yourself. So that was the 1 year they said, you know what, we're going to give you an assistant for the first 2 weeks to help them have a strong foundation. Just that year. They didn't do it this year. They didn't do it for my first year. They did it only last year. That was it. It was great. It was great, by the way. It was amazing. Hey, Sanders. It was amazing. It was the best decision they made. And they didn't do it this year. I was so sad when I found out we weren't getting tea. I was like, please, we're doing the same thing, right? Nah. So yeah, no. You are required to have the only thing that makes you to have sorry, let me get my words together, Lord. The only requirement for having a TA that there is if you have a certain threshold of students in your class. Legally, each grade level, it doesn't matter which states you're in, I believe all states have this. It's just that the numbers are different. Each grade level has a maximum classroom size. Legally, and if your classroom exceeds that size, then you're required to have a second person in that room. So let's say I have a really big kindergarten class, like instead of 18 kids I have like 25, then I would legally be required to have a TA in the room just for safety purposes, right? You can't have that many kids in a room without 2 adults. That's it. That's the only requirement. The numbers are really high too. You can have like 21 or so kindergarten, at least in my state, 21 or so, something like that, kindergartners in your class before you meet like the legal threshold of you need another teacher. We usually get 18. I had 18 kids this year, 19 last year, 18 the year for that. So I mean, it sucks. Sure does. Y'all want to be my teacher assistant though? Come on, y'all. Come on. I could use a little helper. Welcome to Puppy Academy. I was like, hey, Emmanuel. Hey. Testing, I need a bit more time because when I move fast, I learn things fast in practice. I need to slow down or I shut down. That's mentioned on my IEP, but get in the short exam time. Yeah, some kids just can't move fast, and like a lot of tests are timed, so it really just says they don't know nothing when they do know stuff. Y'all just ain't giving enough time to learn. It's even worse when you take their good days and assume automatically they can skip a grade in certain subjects like math. Yeah. Or like sometimes kids are like high in certain aspects, but not all aspects of a subject. So let's say like a kid is like really high in reading, like they can read a lot of words, but then you realize their reading comprehension is terrible. Now they're in like a first grade class when they really should be in kindergarten. Because yeah, they can read a ton of words, but they don't understand what they're reading. You can't move on. You can't say they're on a first or second or third grade level if they don't understand what they are reading. You know what I mean? It's crazy. We had when I was student teaching, we had a kid like that. He was in, it was a first grade class, and he was doing really well in like reading. He could read so many words, but the school kept deeming him as being on a pre-K level, and the parent was livid. She was so mad. She was like, my baby is on a second grade level and I know it. He should be in a second grade. And we had to explain to the parent multiple times that yes, your kid can read, but he doesn't understand a word that he's reading. Comprehension is just as important as the ability to read. Like if you can read, but you don't understand any of the words that you are reading, you cannot say you're on a second grade level. Comprehension is a skill, by the way. You have to develop that skill by like asking kids basic questions while you read, like who is this story about? Oh, okay, what happened in the story? Why was the girl sad again? Like why was she sad? What made her sad? Like you have to ask questions like that. If you don't, and you just teach kids to just read the word on the page and you never ask them any questions, they're just going to read the words on the page. They're not going to internalize it. They're not going to think about the words on the page. They are just literally going to say what they see out loud with no thoughts in their head about it. Like, that is a skill you have to teach. So you cannot move a kid on. Oh, my phone ringing. Hold on. You can't move a kid on to like 1st or 2nd grade if if they can't understand. You know what I mean? It's been a minute. Hey Clay, how are ya? How are ya? How are ya? Seems like reading comprehension is one of the most common. It is a common struggle. It's made more common by how it's reading comprehension is hard because it requires you to have to really look closely at wording and really like analyze what you're reading. And anything that involves analyzing is harder for kids, like on the Bloom's taxonomy level of, you know, there's different stages of like easy to hard questions that you can ask somebody. Comprehension and like analyzing stuff is pretty close to the top. You have to have a really strong foundation. Like you need to know what all the words mean and not just be able to say it, you know. You need to know what those words mean when you put them together in a sentence to understand it. And then if you know how to understand the words individually and then you know how to understand them together, then you need to know how to understand them in the context of like a 1 page on a book, because they're all connected. It's kind of hard. It is kind of hard for kids. And it doesn't help the way that a lot of schools teach. A lot of schools teach kids, again, to just read the page. Like, just read the words on the page. Read the words on the page and use context clues to figure out X, Y, Z. Sometimes you just gotta sit down and ask some questions. Like, hey, who is this character? What color did the book say the house was? Comprehension is a big problem in my kindergarten class. That's because my kids don't speak English like that. A lot of my kids are Spanish speakers natively. So, of course, they don't comprehend what English words are being said, you know? So, oh my gosh! Thank you, Tar! So, they bought the interactive alphabet wall chart off my throat. I appreciate it! Yes! Yes! I appreciate it. I'm so excited. I love that. Thank you. That's going to go outside the wall of my classroom next year. They're going to have to say the letter before they come into the classroom. I'm so excited. That'd be so good. I love it. Thank you. See, I should not be getting excited for things that are getting bought for my job. But that's just how it is. Oh, I love that. I appreciate you so much. That's so fun. That's so fun. I love that. They're gonna have... My kids are gonna be so knowledgeable. They're gonna be so smart now. We hired a carpenter and he struggled as well. It was pure inconvenience. Bet the males struggle more often than the female just because of the most common learning styles. Males struggle more than the females. I guess... Yeah, I guess you could say that. Never really thought about that. I guess you could say that. I guess my best readers in my classrooms are mostly females. Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could say that. I guess there has been a history of my females being better readers and writers and stuff. Interesting. And like understanding like comprehension stuff too. That's true, it is. You understand that we use those skills in conjunction so often for so long with age. You have to take kids through the steps and you can't just execute. Yeah. And like, it doesn't help either how like, let's say like math is hard for a lot of kids because math is all comprehension. You need to be able to understand the words in the paragraph to answer the questions. The way that math tends to be taught though is incorrect. They usually, when people are teaching kids word problems, they ask them to pick out the important stuff. Highlight the numbers. Okay, circle the numbers. You know, highlight the question at the end, etc. But then they're missing details in the middle of the paragraph. You need to be able to read the whole paragraph and understand what it's saying so that you know how to manipulate the numbers for math. When you teach kids to just just circle the numbers and then highlight the question and then ignore the rest of the paragraph, then when they get to the older grades and the questions become more and more complex where you have to read every little detail, then it becomes a problem, because now they're like, oh, I don't know what this is asking me to do, because they're so used to just circling numbers and then looking at the end of the question. They're ignoring the stuff in between. That sets them up for failure. We actually start word problems in kindergarten, and to avoid this, at least me and the other kindergarten team, because we've actually sat down and talked about that this year, we ask them questions before we even start talking about the story, like the word problem. We make sure that they can retell it. So Johnny has 5 apples. He went to the market and bought 2 more apples. How many apples does Johnny have now? You read it 2 times, sometimes 3. The first time they're just reading it to read. Kids don't understand nothing the first time. The second time you read it, the kids, like, you know, they start to understand it a bit more. By the time you read it the 3rd time, they should have it inside their brain. Then you say, okay, turn and talk and tell your partner, what is this story about? That is the first thing I do. And I'm looking for the kids to answer any detail thing, because they're still 5, right? You know, they're not gonna, most kids at age of 5 is not gonna be like, Johnny had 5 apples and he got 2 more, and how many he got? You know, they're gonna be like, Johnny had some apples. And I'm like, good. You know, that's a good start. Johnny has an apple, and then I start asking more questions. How many apples did he have? Okay, he had how many? 5. Okay, so let's say that Johnny has 5 apples, and you know, because that's an important skill that I feel like it's skipped over, man. Yeah, I'm good. Are you good? I'm always good, homie. I'm the bestest. I'm doing good today. I'm doing good every day. But yeah, you have to teach them comprehension before we even talk about go into word problems. You have to retell it. If the kids cannot retell it, we gotta break it down together. All right, boys. Johnny had how many apples? Let's see. How many apples? 5. Okay, say it with me. Johnny has 5 apples. Like, you have to break it down, or else the kids don't understand. And then it's gonna set them up for failure. They're gonna get to 5th grade. They're gonna get to 6th grade, and they don't know how to read the whole story. You know. Got a friend who wants to study nuclear engineering, and he showed a thermodynamic problem for his homework. I got a massive headache just reading. That's scary. I could not answer that thermodynamic stuff. The Scholastic ranking has trashed that for reading as well. It sure has. Haha. That many of us were taught before stuff like Common Core completely took over. We're luckier. Yeah. Sometimes I just want to show y'all, I could literally show y'all, well, not right now because I don't have it on me, some of the lessons that they asked me to teach kindergartners. And you look at the lessons and you're like, a 5-year-old is supposed to do this. It wants me to do this with a 5-year-old. Y'all want to know what my math lesson for last week was supposed to be? I didn't do it that way. You have to modify the lesson. Y'all want to know what it was? Last week, I think it was this past Thursday or Wednesday. The lesson was to have the kids get in line with clipboards and papers, to walk around the school, to look at the different objects around the school that you can count, right? So let's count how many doors we see in the school. Let's count how many tiles on the floor we see in the school, how many doorknobs, how many posters on the wall, etc. Then they're supposed to take the stuff that they found in the hallway, and they were supposed to write their own story problem. I looked at that lesson, I was like, what do you mean this 5-year-old is supposed to write their own story problem? Excuse me? They're literally supposed to, it literally wanted them to walk around the school, see some doors, and be like, this school has 20 brown doors. There are also 6 white doors. How many doors are in the school? Bro, what kindergartner is gonna write something like that? You know what I did? I gave them a clipboard. I said, all right, guys, you're going to go around the classroom and you're going to draw a picture of anything you can count. That's what we did. We drew a picture of things we can count. For example, I said, okay, we can count the plushies over here. How many plushies are there? We can count the blocks. How many blocks are there? Go ahead and draw a picture of things you can count. That's what we did. Because I was like, they got me messed up. Wanted me to want them to write story problems. Are you crazy? They're 5. Some of them, I still got one kid who can't write his name. We had to end the kindergarten. I still got one kid who can't write his name, and they want them to write a story problem. They want them to write a story problem, bro. We got some clipboards and we drew some pictures. They are drawing pictures of one of the kids were drawing pictures of me. They're like, we can count how many teachers they are. You know, we can count the tables. We can count the. That's what we did. It's much more age appropriate, right? Drawing a picture of things we can count. I had them talk to their partners about it. They were talking. They were like, oh, yeah, I drew. You know, we can count the how many squares are on the carpet. We can count. You know, that was much more age appropriate. Every morning I look at the lessons because I don't look at the lessons at home. I get to the school and I look at the lessons before school starts, and I like on the fly. I got like 30 minutes to figure out how to modify a lesson before I teach it. And I was like, it wants me to do what? Nah, homie, we gonna draw some pictures today. All right, boys. Here's a clipboard. Get to drawing. It's so bad. Sound like it sets them up to fail. You'd think it might have been meant for 3rd graders. Nah, there's a lot of lessons like that. For example, some lesson we had. Oh, I had it in my head and I started talking. I forgot. There was a lesson that was recent like that too. Oh, the lessons. So we've been doing letter of the week. Like literally, like this week you're going to learn letter A. Next week you're going to learn letter B, etc. The skills lessons have been getting harder and harder because now we learn all the letters and we learn our digraphs. Now it's having them learn vowel teams, R control vowels, like shark, for example. It says R, you know, shark, stuff like that. ING, like all this extra stuff that they're supposed to learn in 1st grade. Some of the stuff is even 2nd grade. And I'm like, this is crazy. And it gives them 1 day to learn it. It literally introduces them to an insane concept in 1 day. And then it pretends like they've mastered it. And then it keeps building. Now, apparently, right in the kindergarten, they're supposed to be able to spell words like shark and mage. And I'm like, whoa. We've been doing 3-letter words all year long. And all of a sudden, the lessons just ramped up out of nowhere. What kindergartner's going to spell the word shark correctly? Let's be real. Come on now. We still writing words like cat, dog, map, pet, CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonants, what they're called. And it was talking about that lesson was talking about write the word shark, write the word mage. Who writing them words? Not my kids. Not my kids. I'm not even gonna make them write the words. So I've been teaching something completely different. I'm gonna be honest. I have not followed the curriculum in the last month. I have been heavily modifying it. I've been looking at the lessons and heavily changing them because as of right now, they are not suitable for kindergarten. Anyways, y'all, I gotta go. I always abruptly end stream, and I'm gonna do that again today. I see y'all tomorrow, though. I plan on streaming tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. More talking. We're just chatting tomorrow. I want to end stream because I'm trying to beat the ad break. I don't want to like have an ad break and then end stream like directly after that, and we got like 10 minutes for an ad break. So you're like the teacher equivalent of the student that procrastinates to the last minute and does the homework. Yeah, except it works out because my teacher ratings are great, and my principal and admin love my teaching style, so it works out perfectly. Yeah, stream tomorrow. I'll be here unless something comes up. I'll let y'all know when something comes up. All right, I'll let you know if something comes up. All right, Hito is talking. He's doing just chatting right now. He's a part of my VTuber group named RaMe. RaMe is a VTuber group full of wholesome VTubers. He is another wholesome safe for work streamer just like me, okay, guys? So we're gonna go rate him real quick. I promise I'll be back tomorrow unless something happens. Unless the world explodes, my parents shows up out of nowhere again, or I don't know, Kotaru's breaks his leg, you know what I mean? So I almost forgot you're in a VTuber group. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't be mentioning it as often as I should. I also don't be streaming as often as I should either, so that's also part of the problem. But I'll see y'all tomorrow, okay? Okay, join the Discord. Please join the Discord. I'm not as active in there anymore because I'm not getting any notifications on Discord anymore. But once I get my notifications to start coming back, I need to figure out what's wrong with it. Once I get it back, I'll be active there again. But there's something wrong with my Discord right now. You don't use the group feature of Twitch. You can't use the group. In order to make a team on Twitch, you need to be a Twitch partner. And none of us are Twitch partners. So we can't use that feature. We can't. You gotta be a Twitch partner. And I don't have an average of 70 viewers. I would love to have an average of 70. But, it would, you know, that day will probably never come. But anyways, like I said in all of my streams, sayonara, and I hope you have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. I see you tomorrow. Okay, goodbye.